someone might come and say, well, this person, he's a person of the Sunnah, but he only has just like one innovation. Surely we can take from this person, his innovation is just one and it's minor. And the Shaykh says, قُلْنَا عِنْدَنَا هُوَ مُبْتَدِعْ ضَالٍ وَهَذَا مَا قَرَّرَهُ أَئِمَّةُ أَهْلِ السُّنَّةِ. The Shaykh says, no, this person to us is a misguided innovator, even if his innovation is one. And this is what the people of the Imams of the Sunnah, this is what they were upon. And he mentions here something from Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal. Listen to what Imam Ahmad said, rahimahullah, in his Usool as-Sunnah. He said, من السنة اللازمة التي ترك منها خصلة لم يقبلها ويؤمن بها لم يكن من أهلها. Right, so at the beginning of his book Usool as-Sunnah, Imam Ahmad, Usool as-Sunnah, the foundations of the Sunnah, before he starts mentioning the what are these foundations of the Sunnah, he says that from the Sunnah which is binding upon us, are those things which, if a man leaves even a single one of them, if he leaves even just one of those issues, then he has not accepted the Sunnah. He's not accepted the entirety of the Sunnah. He has not believed in the Sunnah. And he is not from the people of the Sunnah. Right? So meaning that it is not possible for you to reject one thing from the Sunnah and for you to claim to be from the Sunnah. It's not possible. Right? Rejecting only one thing takes you outside of the fold of the Sunnah. And this is why we see, in fact, I'll give you one example. In the time of Imam Ahmad, rahimahullah, there was a man called Husayn al-Karabisi. Husayn al-Karabisi. This was a man of knowledge. He was a man of knowledge. He was from the associates and companions of Imam al-Shafi'i, rahimahullah. And as you know, in that time, there was an innovation, the innovation of kalam, ilmul kalam, and there was some speech about the Quran. Is the Quran, is it created? Is it the speech of Allah? Is it not created? What about the Mus'haf? What about our recitation? And this was something that came from the Jahmiyyah. They denied that Allah speaks. Therefore, they denied that the Quran is Allah's speech and His speech. And when they were refuted, they began to bring these kind of obscure statements. Right, ambiguous statements, which is not clear and apparent as to what exactly do you mean, because this statement could be true and it could be false. And one of those statements that they began to say, my recitation of the Quran is created. Right? Now this is an ambiguous statement, because on the one hand, yes, when you recite, and we are referring to your voice obviously is created. And so therefore, that part of it is true, that yes, your voice is a created voice that is reciting the Quran. But that which you are reciting, the maqru', the words which you are reciting, they are not your words. They were the words that were spoken by Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah Azza wa Jal is the one who said, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Allah is the one who said that. But you are the one who are repeating it with your voice, right? So they made this ambiguous statement. And this appeared in the time of Imam Ahmad and Imam Shah. Basically, at the early part of the turn of the 3rd century, right? So Imam Ahmad, rahimahullah ta'ala, this is a person of knowledge, al-Karabisi, and others similar to him, like al-Harith al-Muhasib. There's a group of them. And so there's some narrations, Abu Bakr al-Marrudi, who said, I said to Imam Ahmad whilst we were in Al-Askar, a letter came to me from Baghdad that a man had followed al-Husayn al-Karabisi in his saying, meaning he's saying that my recitation of the Quran is created. So he said to me, Imam Ahmad said to me, this one has become a Jahmi, and has manifested the way of the Jahmiyyah. Meaning, just on account of that statement, right? That one statement. Other than that, this man is a man with knowledge. He has knowledge of the Sharia. He has fiqh in the religion. In all other issues of creed, he's not from the Khawarij, not from the Murji'ah, not from, maybe sound. But he made one statement, which is ambiguous. It could be true, could be false. So Imam Ahmad said, we should warn against him and against everyone who follows him. And he said, Bishr al-Marisi, who was an innovator from decades earlier, he died and Husayn al-Karabisi succeeded him. And Imam Ahmad went on to say some other things about ilm al-kalam and things like that. Then we have also, he said, as is related in Tabaqat al-Hanabila, he said, may Allah humiliate al-Karabisi. He is not to be sat with. He is not to be spoken to. And knowledge is not to be written from him. And do not sit with whoever sits with him. And he said, Al-Karabisi is a Jahmi, is a Jahmite. Right? So this argument that, he has just one small innovation, we can ignore that and just take knowledge from him. No. Because imagine you sat with Al-Karabisi or his likes, and he confused you by way of an ambiguous statement. My recitation of the Quran is created. You could be led by that ambiguous statement to actually believe that the Quran, the Arabic Quran, the words, that they are created. Which means that the speech of Allah is created. Right? So it leads to, and this, you entering now into idolatry and shirk. Without really realizing what you are saying, right? So this thing the Shaykh says that, these people say, he's a person of the Sunnah, but just with one, but this was the nature of most of the people of bid'ah in history. They had most of the truth with them, but they fell into error in a specific thing or a specific area of creed, which was dangerous. And the people of the Sunnah, the Sahaba, the Salaf, they refuted and warned against them. Right, so the Shaykh says, أيها المسلمون والمسلمات بدعة واحدة يحكم بها على من اتصف بها بأنه مبتدئ ضال. A single innovation is sufficient for you to judge an individual to be someone who is misguided, right, and an innovator, until he repents to Allah Azza wa Jal. And obviously, the Shaykh goes on to mention very importantly, that even though we say this, we do not declare anybody, any Muslim, to be either a disbeliever, nor to be an innovator, nor to be a sinner, until after the evidence, the proof is established and conveyed to him. Right? Because it could be the case the person is ignorant, he doesn't know, a Muslim might be committing a sin, maybe he doesn't know riba or something, alcohol maybe even, maybe he's ignorant and jahil or whatever, doesn't know that this is haram in Islam, he's new Muslim maybe, right? And we have to convey to him and show him that this is opposition to the guidance of the Messenger of Allah, right? So after the hujjah is conveyed, until he knows that he is opposing the evidence, that is when we say this one is mubtadi, this one has fallen into disbelief, this one is a fasiq or whatever. This is the way of the people of the Sunnah. Now, the Shaykh goes on to say that this what I am mentioning to you that's not from me. Rather, this is what we have inherited from the people of the Sunnah, from the Imams of the Sunnah, rahimahumullah, and likewise from the time of the Sahaba to this day of ours.